in terms of some of the gifts and anointings that people think that they're operating under is witchcraft. Like, and that's what I went through. And that's actually what led to the whole process of me getting thrown in a mental health institution.
Share. Affinity Extra. Be extra.
I just want to introduce a section of what you think we talk about, and I think we think too much and we don't talk about it. And this is where I feel that, you know, we have let ourselves down, and we thought to ourselves, we presumed to ourselves what happened to Naomi Elliott. Now I'm gonna set the picture here, So Nam's she ain't heard my introduction, you know what I mean? So I might get beaten about the introduction. But I bumped into this young lady a few years back, and it was kind of strange because hearing somebody who can sing in tune was kind of like an amazing thing for me. Again, no dig to all the new young singers there. And so I was like, yeah, she's great. We worked together. We put out EP, Gold, Rush, and then was working on some great projects, you know, starting to work with even international. We had some international collabs set up and whatever, and something happened, and she, you know, we haven't lost contact, but she stopped doing this stuff, and I could have bawled and cried because I was like, I'm not gonna talk to this girl again. She just wastes me time. But no, it was never like that. Still, yeah, people's more important than what we want to achieve in music. You know, there's a lot of young people that I've worked with in the past that have not moved forward in the music scene, which I believe they could have in the gospel scene, I say. But I'd rather them be secure and safe and understand who they are than just keep doing it. So that's where I'm at anyway. Still, yeah. But either way, it was a fantastic. I love her. The track called Story. I just love her vibe. But we had frank conversations, and there was something very. There's an assumption going on right now. Too much by ourselves. We talk to people when they've come back to Christ, and they talk a certain angle about why they left church, and they almost pull back. So I'm gonna go a bit more further than that. And I have conversation and almost say sorry to Nams over the years before the way we have operated as a church towards people who are deconstructing their faith, which is nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? It's not about no Doubting Thomas. Doubting Thomas actually questioned, and he ended up going the furthest than all the other disciples. So doubting and deconstruction, asking questions about your faith is something which shouldn't be scared of. Something that we have to do. You know what I'm saying? As you know, one of my dear friends said, you know what, if I find a fault with this, I'm walking out of this Christianity thing. And praise God, he didn't. so you know, so that's where I'm no fear of this deconstruction. But you know what hurts my heart is that I saw a picture being painted of this young lady, Naomi Elliott. I'm thinking, nah man, someone's being villainized here. And it wasn't the case. But what we did do is never supported her when she needed the most support. You know what I mean? That's where, and I think for Christians now, we have to understand that we need to be there for people, not because they turned up on a Sunday, not because they paid the tithes on time, not because they sing every week for church, or they're in a certain social club, or they're in a certain family group. No, because they're human beings. You know, and that's where. So before watching, go, whoa, why you so preachy? I'm just gonna stick up my chest and defend this conversation we're going to have, man. You know what I'm saying? So we're going for this crazy journey. So Naomi, can you say hello? Let me see if I can.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I hear loud and clear, sis. Loud and clear. Now, I'm going to just kind of, you know, obviously I've done a little nice pictures of if you're in the Midlands or if you're in London, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Let's be real. We all know Naomi Elliott. You know, she performed a lot of times with a lot of people through worship, and she had you had a very great, like, challenging, like, Roger, in the spirit, man, I'm not on this, man. You know what I mean? You were straight, like, I'm like, yo, I don't know you too well. You talk about in the spirit, like, yo, I'm like, she youngie, but nah, but it's really appreciate that and stuff. But just introduce, just do a quick introduction to yourself, sis, because I really want to paint a picture. I know we had a bit of technical issues, and we can blame this with whatever spirit we want to blame, but but it's technology. You know what I'm saying? But don't worry, we're here anyway still, yeah. And and the conversation, you know what I mean, I want to just introduce a quick introduction to yourself, and we're gonna go straight into it because you know we set the scene. I want to go into it, man.
So, hello everyone. My name's Naomi Elliott. I'm an all-round creative. That's what I like to call myself, and I don't like to box myself in anything. And Roger knows that's the first thing that I've always, and the most consistent thing that I've said to him, that I'm just a creative first, and everything is second. You know, so that's who I am. I've gone on a journey, and I feel like I have a story that needs to be heard from many different places and many different areas, not only just church, but just generically within the community. So I kind of struggle of how to introduce myself within the Christian field.
I think they'll be like eating two burgers, they'll be like going, I said what?
I know, right? But this is also part of the problem. It's just, you know, asking questions to understand who people are and why they are where they are. So I guess this conversation will help to create a foundation. So
100%. And I think if we say who you are now, that people will already judge the conversation and be like, me not like this thing. But guys, let's not get into. Anyway, we'll get into. You know, we're gonna go straight into the story now. I set the picture, Nams. Yeah, like you came to Berms. Now the beauty thing is we worked on the EP together, and you know I had a love towards neo soul. Anyone knows Roger? If anything gets to me, I have that neo soul R&B vibes. You know, I came up on that generation, church generation that wanted a bit more grunt in it. You know what I'm saying? A bit quiet music was a bit too soft, but we wanted that bit more grind in it, and you definitely did that with your music. And we had a great launch. You know, Adelaide Mackenzie came up and we introduced it. We was at the drum and a great vibe that was right there. Now. But you was very open about a couple of your tracks really caused a opening, and I think that creativity. I think sometimes in the gospel scene we don't delve down enough in our creativity, and you delved down very early. You was doing songs and you like Rainbow and so on, and then all of a sudden you now delved into something that happened in your childhood within your music, and actually kind of created more trouble for yourself with your family. Just put a picture, give us the name of the track, and just give us what's the story, what you know, and whatever you feel comfortable to say, you know, say it out to us. Because I know you've been kind of bored by it, but just whatever you're comfortable with right now. So I want people to get a picture of what was really going on.
Absolutely. So I did Gold Rush in 2015, and when I look back at the name, it's just everything is so strategic, because I feel like it's just everything's just come full circle. So Gold Rush was an EP that was the beginning part of owning my truth, owning my journey, and owning my story and sharing my story. It was the first time that I was able to share my experiences of sexual abuse, of multiple different sexual abuse experiences, and just going through life, feeling like you don't have the support, you know, where can you turn? And the only thing I could turn to was my faith. So that was really kind of the drive behind the whole EP. It was definitely a very experimental process for me. I didn't even fully understand what I was doing at the time. I just knew that I had a call that I needed to birth something, and we birthed it in like 3 months.
Yeah, so, crazy.
It was a very powerful project. What I didn't know, you know, as I said, this was the beginning part of my journey. So, you know, in the first step was owning my truth. The next step was actually dealing with the trauma that came up from that story, and me just actually acknowledging that. So coming from a very from a church background, I didn't feel like I had the effective support mechanisms in place to be able to effectively deal with the trauma that I was experiencing, which is actually very, very synonymous to the mental health system. And we'll talk about that later. But just in understanding that, when you're talking about psychology or psychiatrists, they don't actually take into consideration trauma. They take into consideration the illness. And I feel like this is also another approach that the church takes, when you start to feel depressed, or you start to feel things that are actually very natural to you, that it gets villainized and it gets demonized. And the only thing is to kind of tap into the religiosity of motions of praise, worship, prayer. But when all of those measures are exhausted and you have nothing, like, this is where there needs to be effective mechanisms. So I didn't have that. And that really created a very distable place for me, because I needed assistance, but everyone saw my gift and they never really saw the person. It then got into a place where I felt like my gift was constantly being prostituted, in a sense that, okay, Nams, come, play here, sing here, do this, do that, Nams. And it's like, okay, when there's real stuff actually going on, I didn't get the Nams. So it was a very hard situation to be in. And as I said, I had to deal with the repercussions of everything that I explored. So a few months after I did my EP, I then decided that I needed to go to the police, and I needed to go and deal with that trauma, through a justice process, going through court. I guess that really set up my journey going forward. So really, to give this, I wanted to make this clear. My journey wasn't started by people had influences, but it had nothing to do with people. I wanted to find myself and my own faith, my own truth. I wanted to understand things for myself. And me and Roger, we've had conversations many times before, and I'm like, I don't want to just go to church and listen to pastors tell me what the Bible means and what this means and what that means. I want to be able to know for myself, so that I have that direct, intimate connection that I don't have to doubt anymore, because I know for myself. It's not because someone told me. It's not because someone said, oh, believe, you'll end up seeing. It's because I've seen for myself. So I guess that kind of adds a bit of context to...
No, 100%. Something that you said in terms of your talent. And I think that this is where I've been grumbling for years about mentorship. Yeah, true mentorship with gifting. And before you go on stage, are you okay? You know what I mean? Just a simple, you seem to be off today. Or let's talk, after the gig. Or let's have a conversation. How you getting on, and support. Now, obviously, you was in London. You moved up to. I know you was in church in London, but you moved to Birmingham, and obviously you plugged into another system. Do you think there was? Do I want to say we as church and so on, and now somebody who has had to almost suppress abuse in the past, do you feel that we try to support, do we try to avoid asking certain questions when people come in an environment where they're suppressing past abuses, so we rather not go there? You know what I'm saying? Is it kind of that vibe did you feel when you was like, don't press that button, because if you press that button we have to deal with something that we might not want to deal with?
Exactly. I really do feel that's the case. I feel like that was one of the major things that that really affected me before I even came to Birmingham. I had been through trauma with church abuse. Even back from younger, I came up in a whole kind of cultish church, but beyond that, I ended up leaving that. Sorry. This is defined, because I know we subject is today church abuse, but I want you to define that in a second. But I want people to recognize is that
it seems like the church abuse was on top of another abuse, which they almost knew they could manipulate the situation because they saw weakness. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Instead of being helping, we said, "Oh, we can control this weak person." You know, maybe I'll get in trouble for saying something like that. But it's like it's predators like that, you know. So because I want to kind of like timeline it, you know, as a child being facing the, you know, kind of, you know, I'm so it makes me feel sick, you know, when I actually say it. I can't even say it, you know, the abuse that you faced as a child, and then on top of that, people almost sense the fact that basically, okay, this is almost like a weak sheep. We can actually abuse that. Now, can you, in you growing up, how did you find from your teenage years transitioning into your older years? You know, how do you see that? You know, what actions was church abuse for yourself?
So from teenage years, so I've had church abuse from birth, basically. But you know, I left my parents' church when I was a teenager. I was just like, I ain't going back. In fact, at that point, I was actually about to convert to Islam. So that's very interesting.
Wow. Okay, it's like that.
Interesting journey, because I was like, if this is what church is, I don't want anything to do with it. And that was
what was church?
I was like 13 that time.
What was church for you as a 13-year-old? You know what I'm saying? Looking back at you, what was church?
Church to me was witnessing people literally being abused from the pulpit, being screamed at, being told that, not even being asking questions, you know, about them. Like, for example, someone could come into the church for the first time. The first thing that pastor's doing, you're a sinner, you're a fornicator, you're going to hell, da, 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 da. And then, you know, when you're actually part of that you know, the actual church, they end up controlling things in the home, which ends up dividing families. And so my family is a result of church abuse in terms of the division, the tension, you know, the not being able to connect. All of that was foundational stuff from church abuse from way before. So you know, growing out of that, then in my teenage years, when I was 16, that's when I decided I wanted to you know, I intentionally gave my life to Christ at that time, and I started going to a church, to a charismatic church that gave me a different perspective of what I had experienced. Now, this is one thing I always say, because I went to Ruach, I always big up the foundational teachings. I'm saying what I'm very intentional with what I'm saying. The foundational teachings of what I was taught. I value that because they came from a very metaphysical perspective, and they really taught me the foundational aspects of studying theology and learning the Bible and learning Hebrew, and that was really my foundation, and that was a lot of my fruit. And even though that was really expansive and it exposed me to, you know, the prophetic and the prophetic giftings and learning how to operate in those, again, it's a big church, so there wasn't aspects to where I wasn't protected. There was actual real life situations to where I wasn't you know, cared for the right way, and not shielded the right way. But you know, that's again just another issue. I then leave there because I'm like, I need a smaller church. I need a more intimate church.
I get the big church scenario, and you know, sometimes you know, you got so many people there, but you can put out there, but you can't the intimacy, you know, you can't really get, which is fair. No, 100% get that, and there's only so much you can do if you're in charge of 3,000 people from the pulpit, you know what I mean? So no, I definitely appreciate that. You know, that's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? So you would seek to, a smaller church?
Yes, I went to a smaller church, and this is where the abuse really started to set in again, because I was very young, and definitely, you know, when I think of myself back then and where I'm at now, there's been a lot of growth in that period. And so, you know, when I look back to my younger self, you know, post like about 14, 15 years ago, I was very lost. I didn't have anyone. I had a lot of traumas that I was transmuting, didn't know how to communicate.
Yeah.
You know, I would get myself into situations that I didn't even know how I got myself into. Then I tried to go to a pastor and, you know, tried to ask for assistance. I let her know what was taking place. But then I don't even know what happened. There was some, I don't know what happened. This family, the pastor and the family, they're all kind of related. So it was kind of like a kind of VIP thing going on there. So there's some lies that were created about me by that pastor that actually went before me to Birmingham before I even got there.
Oh wow!
So these were actually lies that she added on to, you know, things that were actually true, but those lies that she did actually made the situation a whole lot worse, which demonized me. You know, without her adding on, it would have just been like, okay, she's just a normal young girl that's just going through and just whatever. But those lies really tainted my character and how people perceived me.
Oh wow.
So that was really hurtful, because for me, I looked at her like a mother figure. And this has been another pain that I've gone through, particularly with, you know, spiritual fathers and spiritual mothers. It's that wound.
Sorry, sister, I want to stop you there, because I don't want it to be kind of vague. I want to capture the point out of this. So ultimately, you told personal secrets to obviously of a situation to a leadership. And what they did is actually, as you left the city and obviously left the scenario, they almost added some extra cherries on top and icing to the scenario, which actually, as we know, you can have a truth and a half truth. You know what I'm saying? You can actually put something on top of it, which actually taints the character. You don't need to go into detail what it is. I just want to get clear that ultimately, people that we're confining, you know, people. I just want to bring out this point, because a lot of times we talk, you know, we say confidentiality in churches, and this is where we have this. We've been dealing over the weeks with the Ed Show. We're talking about, you know, having professionals dealing with counseling in church, not just and professional people. We just always have people that are spiritually minded doing something which is not actually a profession is set up to do, and actually be able to hold them secrets in. It's tough, and I get it, you know what I'm saying, but ultimately you unloaded with a minister who was taking care of you, and ultimately they twisted the story, you know what I mean, of your situation, which obviously as you come into Birmingham and you're hearing that, how did that make you feel in terms of your character? Does that make you feel angry or look down, or you thought, I'm out to London, so I'm going to carry on my life?
I wasn't even angry. I was hurt.
Oh yeah,
I was very hurt, because I was like, and this is a journey that I've had to continually go through. It's like just looking at people who are supposed to be leaders, just doing things that are incredibly irresponsible and incredibly damaging to people. So I was just hurt, because I was like, I don't understand what I have done to deserve this type of, you know, behavior or just expression. I just didn't understand it. So for me, I was like, that whole situation threw me into a very suicidal place, because I was like, God, like, what the hell is going on? Why do people hate me? Like, I was just like, I was just confused. So now that kind of gives a bit of context, as well as my physical health issues that I had, as to why I was so introverted when I came to Birmingham. I didn't know who to trust.
Yeah, correct.
I didn't know who actually had a heart for me. I didn't know anything. So if I stayed in my own little shell, even though a lot of people knew who I was, and it was weird kind of being in that place and having all these people know who I was, but I literally stayed in my own little shell.
Got it. To protect yourself, of course. Yeah.
And so I was just incredibly hurt, very hurt, and it's only now I'm unraveling that trauma and being able to feel the freedom from that, and just releasing that, because it's taken me, especially when you go through, you know, experiences of abandonment and neglect from your own family, and then you try to find solace in, you know, a spiritual family, a church, or whatever, and then it's the same thing that plays out. It's like, as a person, where do you go if you can't go to the church?
Yeah.
Where do you go?
The thing is, it's meant to be a sanctuary. It's meant to be a safe place, and I think that people have abused information that people have given to them to really get back at them, because it's about control. Yeah, it's about manipulation and turning your secrets into their gain, and they're not looking at the aftermaths and how that makes you feel introvert, how you become a more regressed person, and how you deal with life moving forward, coming into a new town. How do you fit underneath ministry as you leave to come into a new town? Now you come into a new town. Now you're coming into ministry and whatever. Were your eyes even more like a hawk when it comes to ministers, and did anyone try to almost do that spiritual abuse thing with yourself in terms of in Birmingham itself?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it happened again. You know what I'm saying? Why did I ask? Yeah, it happened again. You know what I'm saying? Do you feel that sometimes bullies know who to bully? Duppy know who to frighten, as I say, you know what I'm saying? And it's almost like and I know it's a very weak spiritual connotation, but the reality show is it is a reality that, you know, they kind of look around and kind of sense, and through your spirit realm, you know, literally almost who to bully for me. But what sort of blockade, what sort of scenarios did you bump into? I mean, what type of things did you see when you kind of functioning? Was it your age group? Was it your because obviously there's a clan of people your age group. We're doing coffee shop gigs, and you know what I mean, ramping with people and whatsoever. And then also you had some of the leadership, so who you bump into, the certain ministers out there and whatsoever. Where was the abuse coming from?
The abuse was coming and before I even get there, I feel like a reason why people like myself get issues with leaders is we pose the questions that they don't want to answer.
Okay, good.
We test the boundaries that they don't want to push. So it's like, let me make it as difficult for this person to kind of bring them back into reins and bring them back into, you know, a box, so where they can be controlled and be easier to navigate. So in Birmingham, that's what I experienced. Wow. Even more so because when I came to Birmingham, I was able to really solidify myself, really come into a true understanding for myself. That's where I really, that's where I started my artistic journey. That's where I really, you know, start to step out of my comfort zone and, you know, share myself with the world. Okay. So as I'm going through my journey, because Birmingham was a very significant point. It was an activation for me. I feel like I needed to be more so alone in that time, because I was a very, very social person before I came into Birmingham, in London, whatever. But in that time, taking that time to just be with myself and also really connect to what everyone was, all of these experiences, or I wouldn't even say all of these experiences, because it's not like you'll get like these powerful, you know, spiritual experiences in church all the time, but the times that you would get that, like you could actually, like I was learning that I could create that at home. I didn't need to be in a space where you know, in a crowd, and I found as well that every time I was going to church, I was just feeling this irritation and I didn't know where it was coming from. But every time I would just hear things, I would just ask a question. I'm like, okay, but have you not thought of this? What about the other side? Like I would just have all of these questions. And for me, especially, you know, and for those that have transitioned through Christianity, they will understand with this particular type of trauma, in terms of feeling like you can't question and scared to question. Like, how can you question God? You can't question, you know. So you literally create this this paradox in your own mind where you're wanting to, you know, go further and test the boundaries, but the programs in your head are just like no, and just pushing you down. So it's like it's enough to just send anyone in a place of anxiety, because you're like, okay, I don't know what to do anymore. Do I trust myself? Do I trust what I've been told? So I'm in that position, and I'm trying to figure it out. And I'm having all of these people come to me. Yes, this is what the Bible says. This is what you should believe. Da, 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 da. And I said, I don't actually want to hear anything. I even said it to you, Roger. I was like, I can't hear I don't want anyone around me right now, because that's going to disrupt the process of what I feel I'm trying to birth and understand for myself right now. So I just went in that 6 months just locking down and just, didn't speak to anyone, didn't go nowhere, just trying to understand, just trying to be intentional. When I came out and I tried to I felt more comfortable to go to my leaders and go and ask questions. This is where the manipulation really started to set in. This is where the real-time witchcraft started to set in. Because that's another thing that they don't like to talk about in the church, in terms of some of the gifts and anointings that people think that they're operating under is witchcraft. And that's what I went through. And that's actually what led to the whole process of me getting thrown in a mental health institution. That, along with family and their misunderstandings and not wanting to ask questions, and the church, just everyone sending their projections at me. That is what led me into a mental health institution, not by myself, but by other people's what's the word? Thinking that was the best thing for me.
So, okay, right. So I want to paint this picture. So it was like, okay, right. Let's break this down a little bit still. So ultimately now, you've because now we're tying into the timeline of the EPs being launched and whatsoever, and you've almost withdrawn from the community from the community after that, because of a lot of thought processes being put onto yourself, and when you come out, and I want to interpret this for people, because the reality show is that spiritual abuse, the reality show is that it comes in very different forms, and when we coming around and talking things over people's life and they're saying thus saith the Lord, if you're not coming from a Holy Spirit and God's Spirit, what spirit are you coming from? And that's and before you open your mouth, people out there, and say, oh, how dare she say, listen, I've been around too many false prophets, that manipulate people to wear the right clothes, to wear hats, to wear this, to wear that, and you must do this, you must do that, you must do that. I know it's our grandparents, I know it's our parents, but they're under false doctrine. So let's not get too sanctimonious about what Naomi says. The reality show is that when we go around and saying, I always say to people, you have to have some balls to turn around and say, this is what God is saying. In the Bible it says, if you're gonna say God says, if you fail in the Old Testament, you will be killed. False prophets are killed in the Bible. We've seen it with the Donald Trump scenario. Oh, he's going to be voted in. A whole heap of Christian, MAGA Christian people, whatever, make America great again, and they falsely predicted Donald Trump to be president. What will happen in the Old Testament? They will be murdered, because do not bring the Lord's name in vain, and we're too flippant and loose with it, because God knows the damage it will cause on young and old people if you abuse that. That's me, and so I'm gonna be like, yo, leave the sister alone, right? I get what you say. So sis, now ultimately there's a lot of God said this, God said that. Give us an illustration of what people utilize in terms of what God said. What will give us a God said?
I had one yesterday. I mean,
but if we go to just before the breakdown that you had, what were some of the God says that you had before the break, before you got taken away?
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Okay, cool. So it's the same. Okay, cool.
Over and over again. I'm getting ready to do some really amazing things. But because they don't understand, and they may not they may not understand. They'll be like, you know, God said that this what you're going to do will fail, and and it's
okay, yeah.
Do you even understand what I'm doing or what? That this has been a constant thing. It's not just one person or whatever. It's, you know, it's that constant urge to want to prophesy over my life, but through your own judgment, like through your own
through your own lens. Yeah.
Of who you think I am and what you think I'm doing. And that's dangerous, because even the Bible says there's death and life in the power of the tongue. Be careful of what you're speaking onto people's lives. You can literally just be blocking out things unnecessarily because you're not in alignment with whatever that truth is, you know. And it's important, because that in itself, if I wasn't strong in myself, this is why I said to you, call it surviving church abuse, because I am a survivor. If I did not have the strength that I had, me and you, Roger, would not be having this conversation.
Simple. So this is where and I will continue dragging people through this situation. So hold on a second. It was like, hold on. So Nams bought out the EP, come out, you know what I'm saying? Now, God's been saying this in her life, saying that into her life. She's brought out the fact that she was abused as a child through her music, you know what I'm saying? Which was very uncomfortable for family to hear, you know what I'm saying? There's angry family, there's confused family, there's family that's trying to hush it and keep it quiet, and there's all that breakup, and then all of a sudden, you open your eyes, sis, and you're somewhere where you shouldn't be. Yeah. Now I want to really unpack that, because you've been told, and this is where we have to be careful when God knows, man, God knows, because when you've been told something one way, sis, you know, someone's been telling you God said this, God said that, and then the other side, people are like, shh, don't want to hear that, and then all you want to do is heal. All you want to do is get through this. So all these things are barraging, and then all of a sudden it came ahead. Yeah, so everyone's throwing this at you, throwing at this, not even discerning the spirits and showing wisdom and pulling you aside, and let's go out for a quick coffee, let's really break down what is going on. No one's having conversations, they're speaking into your life, and then all of a sudden it came out and you found yourself somewhere where you shouldn't have been. Now explain the crisis moment there.
Wow.
Sorry, if you again, if you don't have to go too much in detail, if it's too much.
It's cool. It's interesting, because this becomes the biggest crisis. I've been through many different crises in my life, but this, for one, was just one that does create residue, traumatic residue naturally, because of the things that I had to experience. But because of the unaccountability of other people and how they project their behaviors onto me, it ended up creating a situation to where I don't even, up until today, I still cannot fully know how the sequence of events led up to, me being thrown into a mental health institution. But again, people just not asking questions, just wanting to project, and then police coming in, throwing me down on the floor, being handcuffed whilst naked, and then getting taken to a hospital, not being told what's going on, then being traumatized in that hospital, then being taken like another 2 hours to another hospital, only then being told that I've been sectioned by a mental health institution with no assessments, by the way, no assessments. Then being traumatized by staff and patients, going through sexual harassment, being told to kill myself by staff. For the first 4 days of being and I was in a high detention unit. Anyone who knows me, I'm not a threat like that. I'm not angry. I'm always saying, So, then at my first 4 days in that high detention unit, I could not even go into my bedroom. I was being bullied by the whole hospital, whilst they were gaslighting situations, creating scenarios out of the blue that just to deliberately trigger me out of my out of myself. They made me cancel my card. They made me cancel my phone. They were this is at the beginning of Brexit, so they tried to make up stories that all the black people are being sent back to original country. Now here's the issue: my mother's St. Lucian, my dad is Jamaican. I'm born in Britain. Where am I going? So then they create this paradox of your family's fighting each other. You need to treat basically like you need to leave the country. Okay, so that's the level of madness.
Bullying that was going on. Yeah.
I had to experience harrowing, like harrowing, like terror. It's terrorism. Psychological terrorism is what I had to go through for 7 weeks.
Wow.
And not having, because I didn't have access to my phone.
Yeah.
The only people that had any access around me was family that I've been estranged from, who again project onto me and thought that was a justified thing for me, because anything out of the lines of what they believe is crazy to them. So I'm crazy.
Wow.
Right? The hospitals using them to kind of, she's really ill, even though the primary nurses and stuff are like, there's nothing wrong with her. She's helping us with our patients. I don't understand why she's here. Right?
Wow.
Linking into the church, feeling like they can come to me and lay hands and call me Jezebel and cast out demons. And I'm like, what chaos is going on here?
Hold a second. They called the church in. Yeah. They try to lay hands and cast out spirits out of you, right up in the
Well, this wasn't in the. They did try to come. They actually did try to come to the hospital. I managed to not allow them to come to my room, but when I came out, they all came.
Oh, to have the cleansing, to cast it out, and the thing is, it's something that we're trying to undemonize. I know there's a massive public, not only within Christendom, within all arenas, mental health awareness. It's like it's unraveled so much in the last 5 years. It's ridiculous, and and the reason why I wanted to kind of bring this out, sis, is that the same people that were saying God said this, God said that, God said in your life, where were the people
judging me when they found out about what happened? I had messages like, oh, that's why you should give your life to Christ, because these things won't happen to you. And I'm like,
wow,
are you okay? Like this is what draws a bigger wedge
between, because the thing is, the question should be saying, I'm so sorry, how are you? And I think Christians, we it's very dogmatic of us, to actually think that, what the first line is, you must get saved, but your life will be better. The problem is, I've heard people say they've moved from Christ because their entry point was, your life will be better. I guarantee your life will be better. The reality show is that it's not better. It's just you have different tools to deal with the situations that are around you. So sometimes we lead off with that moment, but the reality show is that if you going through mental health, depression, or oppression, it doesn't autopilot means that you can just turn up and everything comes off your shoulders and you're walking around all healthy and whatever. No, it's got to be a journey. It's got to be a time where people have to go with you. You can't just hocus pocus this thing out. You know what I'm saying? And we're creating too much damage here. And this hocus pocus situation of just pushing out. And I do believe in laying hands. I do believe in praying. But I believe in journey. Also, I believe in counseling. Also, I believe in a journey that goes beyond 1 or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I believe in, and this is where we need to step up. Now, people can think that, okay, Roger, you're totally wrong now. You've brought on Naomi Nams, who's obviously, we had an opinion about it. But I wanted people to hear this because I feel that, sis, we've demonized you ultimately because of where you're at right now. We can see in the background there's some funny, what's that in the background? Oh, it's coming through this kid. But it's clear that you're still spiritually aware, and spiritual awareness is not exclusive to Christianity. But what I really wanted to do is really look at this and our own, we are facing relatives and people that are going through breakdown situations. We're going through oppression. But people, what's the first thing we need to be doing is not locking the door and casting out demons out of people and pretending like this has happened. I'm seeing it too often. Yeah, wisdom, counseling, journey. Try the spirit. Go for that journey. Not go, oh yeah, it's that one. You know what I mean? And going like, I'm seeing this too often, and it hurts my heart. Sis, as the blessings, of yourself. You got a little son right now, Shiloh. 100% blessing, and my question is to everybody who ran up and down, ministered with you, prayed with you, said bad things about you. Where are they now? People could say, Roger, but no. But I'm sorry, Facebook, Instagram is too easy to get through to Nams. I pick up the phone, I get through to Nams when I feel like it. You know what I'm saying? She can't get through. If I can't get through to her, I text her. She's on Instagram, kind of blatant. And my challenge is Nams is one of many. Sis, you're one of many. You know what I'm saying? And we're seeing right now people deconstructing the faith, asking scorn questions, and we're almost going, shh, keep quiet, quick, don't ask that question. To say, and I think that we need to be comfortable with questions and actually stop coming out this whole area of just in the air, and actually face the questions and reason. Because if this is the way, the truth, and the light, which I believe it is, we can reason and go on a journey and respect people's opinions and whatsoever.
I wanted to say, no, the questions is important, because when you question, you'll find that where I'm at is not much further than where I'm the same person. Like, it's not like my belief system has changed. I'm just understanding. I'm using. I'm decolonializing my belief system. I'm understanding things for myself. I'm using different archetypes so that I can organize my mind a bit better, and then learn how to communicate a bit better, learn how to understand, contextualize emotions, contextualize, all of these different things. Like, I now work in the area of being a coach. I'm a self-evolution coach. I teach people how to evolve themselves, how to look into the hidden parts of their psyche, their emotions, the things that they've repressed, the things that they've forgotten about, the things they don't want to talk about, because that's all the things that is influencing our mental health. That's the type of things that we need to be communicating about. That's the things that we need to be connecting on. Wow. So for people like myself, when you begin to ask questions, you'll find I'm not much different to you. Like, you'll find, and if you can actually take out the religiosity of everything and just, see who the person is, soul to soul, heart to heart. Those people who know me, and you're seeing me now, this is exactly the same way I've been talking from the beginning. Yeah, I haven't changed. And the way that I communicate may change. The resources that I have access to may have changed, but me myself as a core person has not changed.
I bet everyone expected you to be like, "Hi, my name's Elliott, and I am the new person, and I'm going to speak into your life." You know what I'm saying? I bet everyone expected, the Naomi second person to be coming through right now and whatsoever. But I know time is going away from us, sis. Yeah, but I really wanna I've continually said sorry. So I probably said sorry to you so many times, in terms of seeing the abuse of what's it my people, of Christians. It breaks my heart, because I sit down and reason with people like yourself, and I'm like, guys, if we actually knew the damage we cause, by throwing these things, and my thing is that life is a journey, and Nams, we're going on the journey. We'll catch up and we talk and all the time, and because Nams is not thinking exactly on my exact path, but we have to show is we can sit down and talk, and we could talk for 1 hour, 2 hours, and we just there chatting and go, Nams, I gotta go, man. Yeah. Okay. You know what I mean? It's crazily cool, but one thing I want to really want to bring out from this conversation that we're having, sis, is that, you know, you breaks my heart. You know, it's great for me to talk to people who there's a young lady, a video I done with Anu. She's a singer, and she was abused as a child, and she's had to come through a journey and traumatic journey from that and whatever. And it's very easy to have conversations with Christians who are coming through, but it's interesting talking to yourself, because you almost got mistreated and set upon because of that weakness that you had in your upbringing, and yourself now being separated literally from your family because of, you know, the truth of the matter is that it's our job as families to protect our children, and if we never protected a child, it really, you know, the pride, especially of our people, we're very proud people, we don't want no one to know that we couldn't protect our child, yeah, and to be easily demonized is a very easy thing to do. And I would challenge parents as well. I'm a parent myself. When your child goes a path that is not quite what you pick, do we stop them from coming to the house? Do we stop looking after the grandchildren? Do we stop feeding them? Do we stop loving them? And I've seen that happen.
I've been a victim of that. Like, my family has been victim of that. So that's stuff that real life happens. You know, my sister having a baby and the church saying, no, because she's not Christian, you can't support her. You have to kick her out the house. You have to do all this kind of stuff. So yeah, that's real life church abuse. On the youth too.
And this is what I'm saying, man. You know, he without seeing cast the first stone. You know, with 100%. We want we Lucy say that, and I appreciate your time for this, because what we're gonna do with this conversation now, guys. You know, sis, we can't forget the fact that basically you actually went on the news, yeah, to talk about how you got treated. In a crisis moment, everything bubbling up inside you, abuses throughout the whole of your life. You hit that pinnacle part, getting dragged and abused for week after week in the system. Yeah, just give us a snippet of what happened in that news article when you got called into the news and what that was about before we close off.
Yeah, so I mean, I had 2 different interviews a year apart. The first one they did a documentary on you know, the Black community and how easily we can be labelled with diagnoses of psychotic schizophrenia. Okay. So they showed a documentary. There was a bit of biasness with the first time they did that, because they didn't really give my story context. They, you know, tried to make it off like, you know, I just, you know, needed to go in and then I had a trauma. But the second time it was live. So we was able to get Janine Dyer, which is a mental health advocate and an MP, and really just have the conversation and really actually contextualize the conversation the way it needed to be. So the fact that I did not need to be there, the system has failed, and we now need to do something about it. So that kind of led to my advocacy, because you know, fighting the system is kind of almost you pick your battles, but I know I can battle through my voice. So that's why I raise awareness about these types of experiences, because they are increasing, and particularly in this pandemic, it is increasing. And you know, this is also a reason why the church does need to listen to this conversation about mental health, because the reality is things are going to increase, and you know, we need to be in a position to shield you know, our community and make sure that they're not going through experiences like me. Like, so we have to clean up. You know, I'm not against church. The church is needed. I just, you know, I'm one who's supposed to be outside the 4 walls of the church. You know, everyone just needs to know their positioning. So, you know, if we can really just come together and just get rid of the judgment and understand that we are dealing with a collective issue here, and that we may have different angles as to how that issue can be approached, then we'll be in a much better place. But we cannot move unless we address these initial things first.
Crazy. That's definitely crazy. And this is what I'm saying, is that when we're dealing with Black issues and systemic racism, I fundamentally, people have heard me say many times on the show that I know our people hasn't as Christians, we haven't been part of the fight. Yeah, we've left individuals, we left our community to deal with it, and I think it's time we stand next to our community and deal with systemic racism. When black women and black men are demonized, we then demonize them again on top of themselves by trying to cleanse out the spirits that was in them or whatsoever. And I appreciate that knowledge and where that's coming from, and I do appreciate that there's deliverance services. I do appreciate that is known in all spectrums of religions. That's the reality, you know. But we also have to appreciate that, you know, that there's a journey and there's a love and there's a kindness, and Naomi, I do salute you for being able to smile. You do sound the same. I must admit, you're just missing that Birmingham twang in your voice, which you know,
and to get rid of that,
you know, we have to claim that back. You know what I'm saying? That so your voice goes, ooh, it stretches out a bit. You know what I mean? But no, I appreciate the time, and I know it's a conversation which we could be talking here for 2-3 hours and whatever, but I just want to give the people an idea of what was your journey up to this point, you know what I mean? And you might get some conversations going on now, hitting you up saying, sorry, I haven't spoke to you. You really was in, you know, and you know, I may be crude. I said it was asylum. I just said to people, straight up asylum. Let's call it for how wicked the place is, yeah? And if you think, you know, if we're just dumping people, and I actually didn't think they would be treating people like that. But you know, when I sat down and think about it, and I'm thinking, wow, absolutely wow. And thanks again, sis, for taking your time out and having that conversation. I was thinking, will she actually talk to me this weekend? Would she?
No, listen. This is definitely on time.
Yeah.
And I thank you, Roger, so much for just being true to who you are. Okay, because cool, there's not many people like you, and we need more people like you to be holding space for these types of conversations and just connecting the way that you do. You've never left me this whole time. It's been like what, 6, almost 7 years, and you still tap in, you still send me love. You know, you still ask how Shiloh is, and it's just treating people like a human being. And so I appreciate you for that, and just, you know, setting that example with just humanity. Because it's definitely needed.
No, 100 is 100. So thanks again, guys. Listen, man, enough love to Naomi Elliott. Do check out Gold Rush, man. It's an amazing album.
Thank you.
Shameless plug. But anyway, listen, sis, thanks again for the convo.
Visit us for updates and shows at affinityextra.co.uk.